The text came just as the waiter poured wine into my glass. Don't react, they're recording you. My fingers tightened around the stem, but my face didn't change. I smiled at my mother-in-law's story about her Pilates class, nodded at my father-in-law's fake laughter, even reached under the table to squeeze my wife's hand. But my eyes scanned. The phone sat face down in my lap, buzzing again. By the time dessert arrived, I had 99 missed calls. Same unknown number. Whoever it was, they wanted me to know. I should have seen it earlier. The odd pauses in my wife's voice. The way her family suddenly grew warmer, too warm, inviting me to lunches, dinners, pretending to bond. At first, I thought it was reconciliation, a bridge finally being built. But bridges don't smile like that. Bridges don't whisper when you leave the room. The first clue came a month ago. I walked into the living room and the conversation snapped shut like a book. My wife, phone in hand, cheeks flushed. Her father, smirking. When I asked, they told me it was about vacation plans. But I'd caught the word before silence fell. Alimony. The betrayal didn't crash. It dripped. Late-night whispers, sudden errands, locked doors. I told myself not to jump to conclusions, but my instincts don't lie. So I waited, I watched, and then came the email, an accidental forward. My wife's lawyer copied to her father outlining strategies for divorce, hidden assets, false abuse claims. They were setting me up. I didn't break, I didn't scream. I played along, kissed her goodnight, laughed at her mother's jokes, picked up the check when we went out. And at night, I documented everything. Bank statements, phone records, cameras hidden in plain sight. They thought they were building a case. They didn't realize I was building mine. So when the text arrived at lunch, I knew. They wanted a show. They wanted me angry, cornered, exposed on camera. But I gave them nothing, just smiles and small talk. Inside, though, I was already 3 moves ahead. The next morning, I called the unknown number back. A man's voice answered. Calm, direct. He was an investigator I'd hired months earlier. Silent, invisible. He had intercepted their communications, recorded their meetings. He had enough to bury them. That was the moment my fear evaporated. Execution was simple. I moved money they didn't know existed, shifted assets offshore, retitled the house into a trust. Every trap they had planned, I emptied before they could spring it. Then I waited for them to make their move. It came fast. 2 weeks later, she filed. My wife, trembling with false righteousness, flanked by her parents. They thought I'd beg. They thought I'd fold. Instead, I slid a folder across the table. Inside, emails, transcripts, bank transfers from accounts in her father's name funding the scheme. Proof of conspiracy, fraud, perjury in progress. The lawyer froze. My wife's face drained. Her parents went silent. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. I just said, "You should have chosen honesty. Now you'll settle for mercy." They tried to salvage it. Her father offered negotiations. Her mother cried. My wife whispered apologies she didn't mean. But it was too late. My lawyer filed countersuits. Assets reverted to me. Their lies collapsed under evidence so precise it cut like glass. The recording they had planned to use against me? I turned it into evidence of entrapment. By the time the dust settled, they were the ones drowning, in debt, in shame, in silence. I think about that lunch sometimes, how they smiled at me while plotting to strip me bare, how they thought I was the fool in the room. But fools don't wait. Fools don't gather evidence in silence. Fools don't walk out of court with everything intact while their enemies fall apart. Now the calls have stopped. The texts, too. My wife is gone. Her family doesn't speak my name. And me? I'm free. Not because I fought louder, but because I fought smarter. Final reflection. They wanted a performance. I gave them a confession. And the only recording that mattered was the one that destroyed them.